Thank you, Chair. Mr. Jordan, let's go gold digging, okay? Could you please give the committee a progress report on Operation Nazian? How much money has been recovered and have any criminal charges been laid? Sorry.
Mr. Dice is here, Senator, but
Thanks,
just
Mr.
while he
Dice.
gets comfortable, I'll perhaps give you the headline. We've raised in the order of $700 million worth of liabilities in connection with these schemes.
You've raised?
Raised that in liabilities.
So you're saying you've recaptured 700 million that was
That's
rorted?
liabilities, not necessarily the amount we've collected yet. Some of that is in dispute. And so
So you're saying there's about 700 million owing to the ATO, you think?
$700 million worth of liabilities, some of which is subject to dispute, and we won't be seeking to collect that while they go through the court process. Some of which has been collected already. In addition to that, we've got a range of audits that we're continuing to work through. And in addition, we've got some refunds that we're continuing to hold that would otherwise have been due. We think we've got a grip on the issue to the extent that we've introduced a voluntary reverse charge mechanism earlier this year. We've released a new tax determination on second-hand goods that seems to be reverting refund arrangements in relation to the gold industry back to the kinds of levels that we've seen earlier rather than in this most recent period. So, perhaps
Mr. Dice, you got something to add?
Yes, thank you, Senator. The second part of your question was in relation to what more serious actions might have unfolded. We have referred one brief of evidence to the Commonwealth Director of Public Prosecutions.
Good.
I'll give you some specific details. I know you want that. That affects 2 people. We have 8 other referrals that are currently being assessed that affect 11 people, with a view to hopefully referring those to the Commonwealth Director of Public
Another 8 you may in total refer to the DPP?
Yes.
Good.
And Senator, we have also had one referral referred to and accepted by the Serious Financial Crimes Task Force. And if I could just give you a breakdown of what that referral relates to. It relates to 6 different, let's call them chunks of individuals or groups, 3 syndicates, so there's a number of people involved in each of those syndicates, 1 refiner, 1 gold bullion dealer, and 1 associate of a gold bullion dealer. So there's a number of entities now that are currently under very, very active examination by a range of Commonwealth agencies, some already with the Commonwealth Director of Public Prosecution, others at different stages with other organisations. Those numbers don't duplicate either, they're all different people.
And I think also...
You've done well.
I think also there was a recent AAT case.
Yes.
That we were successful in, so that was a nice expose of the sort of scheme, and the finding was in our favour.
It confirmed the Commissioner's view about the inappropriateness of the arrangements.
So clearly the ATO would be aware that from 2011 to 2016, scrap gold market turnover in Australia grew from $150 million a year to $1.8 billion a year. And since you have withheld the GST, there has been a significant drop again. Is that correct?
That's correct, Senator.
Clearly shows the scam, doesn't it?
Well,
Senator,
if I recall accurately, there was a newspaper article on, I think, an AFP type situation where they talked about 2 foreign students.
2 or 3, Mr. Jordan. I thought it was 3.
Well, maybe it was 3. Maybe you know the article.
Gold diggers.
Yeah, they
very
took
busy.
the gold to the refiner on a Tuesday, and came back. They picked up the investment grade gold on a Tuesday.
Bullion.
The bullion.
Yep.
They took it to the house, redid it to rough
Smashed it up a bit.
Smashed it up a bit, and they took it back on a Thursday for them to refine it back into investment grade. And so this is the carousel that just kept going around.
How long those students do that for? Any idea? 12 months? Was it longer?
It was so blatant that
not
Tuesday
long
and
periods of
Thursday.
time, because what was happening in the industry were people were coming in and going out, coming into the country even and going out of the country.
Does it show that the refineries were working with some of these shonks if I can call them that.
Look, our impression is it would be very difficult not to know what was going on when a couple of
Yeah,
foreign students turn
familiar
up
faces
every
come in every
Tuesday
few
and
days with
Thursday
damaged
and buy
bullion.
this extraordinary amount of gold and then sell it back to them 2 days later. So
We've certainly
know,
said
some-
to the industry that they should know their supply chains, and
course they should.
we expected that they should have known their supply chains and possibly did.
And it
Well,
was
here's the
uneconomic, by the way it did. If you included GST to be remitted to us, the economics didn't make sense. The only way it worked was to not remit the GST and split the price sometimes between the refiner. I got a good deal on the purchase of this gold, and the people that then roughed it up and put it into a different state. So that's
Mr. Jordan, it may be the
that's sort of
case if the-
implication.
If the shonks and refiners got together, maybe a case there was no gold. There was just a piece of paper changing hands.
That is an issue that is
That
relevant
could have
to
happened,
our
couldn't it?
inquiries.
It
Now,
is-
I'm going to ask you a scary question. Have you seen any signs where this profit from this gold laundering criminal activities have gone overseas? And I ask that question, has there been any sign of this, the profits from this whole scandal feeding to places like Middle East, Syria or anything like that?
Senator, we haven't seen any evidence of that, but it might be a question you need to ask to other agencies perhaps, but we haven't seen evidence.
I understand.
You're
there was
working with
some
other
evidence
agencies to
of-
chase that up?
I understand there was some evidence of organised crime syndicate actually
Yes.
financing the carousel and then taking the
Yes.
cut, the 70% of the 10%, and they were organised criminal syndicates who actually ran the scheme. And that's where we say the refiners, it's very difficult not to understand how they went from 150 million a market to 1.8 billion in a matter of 4 years. So we've
Big
put in
improvement in
place
production, isn't it?
money for jam, apparently.
It's moved back significantly though, Senator.
Since you've jumped on, that's very good. See, my concern was there might be terrorist groups tied up with this, money leading to
We're not.
places where there's the last place we want money to go. But obviously you'll work with the agencies to see if you can trace any of that and work it out.
Absolutely.
Good on you for your good work. Now, the solution. I suggest to the Treasurer that you remove GST off gold except the finished product. Then you can't scan the GST through its processing systems. And he was paid a lot of attention to that. What's your solution to stop this happening again? Because it happened in the UK, it happened in Europe, it's been a scam going on for a long
and we're
time.
looking at those proposals in terms of what's called a reverse charge. So there's a netting off at the refiner level. They're not paying GST to the missing person and then selling it GST free. They actually net the two off within themselves. And they're
Hence the ATA is not turfing money out in big volumes.
Absolutely.
So that'll be the solution that's working, obviously.
It has worked in other jurisdictions. It's similar to what we've implemented at an administrative level so far. Industry are happy that it allows them to operate on legitimate business.
So the honest people in the industry, Mr. Dice, the
Yes.
dishonest people would not
Well,
be happy at all.
Yes, and the ATO is happy because risks are being much better managed by industry as a result of this.
Well, we're talking 650, 700 million, perhaps $1 million laundered that should have been going to the states to run their schools, hospitals, etc.
Senator, it's a large amount of
where
money.
the GST
and
goes.
It's a large amount of money, and we're working very hard to recoup as much of that as we possibly can, as Mr. Olsen said.
You're probably like politics, you don't get much praise, but thank you for your good work and good luck with the future.
Thanks, Senator.